On June 26, a light aircraft was flying towards Beijing's tallest building, the CITIC Tower. Then it shut down its radio and crashed into this Beijing landmark. The hole is only 7 kilometers from Zhongnanhai, the center of CCP power. The pilot of the light plane is highly suspected to be Zhongnanhai, a senior executive of a company under CITIC Group. Why would she take such a shocking action, seeking personal revenge for a workplace failure? Or was she instructed to destroy the so-called 1.5 trillion low-altitude economy blueprint? Could this incident become a new trigger in the power struggle within the top echelons of the CCP? In this episode, let's follow the plane's movements and delve into the intense turmoil in China. Flying over Beijing isn't as simple as you'd like. There's a well-known term in China's civil aviation industry: the Beijing Big Turn. Commercial flights taking off or landing at Beijing Capital International Airport or Daxing International Airport must make a near 90-degree turn in the air, deliberately avoiding the airspace above Beijing's downtown. The area along Chang'an Avenue in Beijing is an absolute no-fly zone. Especially given the recent war, Beijing's top leadership has realized that letting their leaders leave this world first has become a new mode of warfare. The United States may precisely obtain their information through various means. This poses a significant deterrent to the CCP. Since May 1st of this year, Beijing has promulgated comprehensive airspace control regulations, effectively banning recreational flights and consumer drone flights. All outdoor flights require prior approval from the government and air traffic control. Flying, selling, leasing, or carrying drones and their core components into the city is completely prohibited. Even kites and sky lanterns are banned. However, this 2-seat single-engine light sport aircraft about the size of a car defied all these restrictions and flew over Beijing's Central Business District, CBD. The aircraft's operator, the Oriental Fashion Flight School base, was quickly located by Chinese state security personnel. A Financial Times report revealed that on the evening of the 26th, its reporter witnessed uniformed personnel searching a black SUV at Shifoxi Airport in Pinggu District, eastern Beijing, which is also the Orient Fashion Flight School base. Through the SUV's license plate data, the registered owner was identified as Zhongnanhai. Coincidentally, a senior executive at CITIC Group's wealth management company, CITIC Wealth Management Company Limited, is also named Zhongnanhai. She is a middle-aged woman with a dignified appearance. According to the Basic Information Disclosure of Investment Personnel file published on the official website of CITIC Wealth Management on June 22nd of this year, Ms. Liu is one of the company's 5 general managers of investment departments. According to a report published on the CITIC Bank website in September 2023, Zhongnanhai was then the director of investment line for separate accounts at CITIC Wealth Management. According to a Google image search, these videos and images did not appear to be circulating online before the incident. Therefore, the possibility of these images being fake is close to zero. According to reports from multiple media outlets including Taiwan's Liberty Times, CITIC Group has recently experienced unusual financial activity. On June 5th, its subsidiary CITIC Bank was heavily fined 11.4 million RMB, equivalent to US 1.68 million, by regulators for business irregularities. On June 23rd, the bank was again named by China's National Audit Office for allegedly involving hundreds of billions of RMB in unauthorized fund transfers. Then, 3 days later, this small plane crashed. The building, known as China Zun, is the CITIC Tower, 528 meters tall, the tallest building in Beijing, located near the headquarters of the Chinese national TV station. It's only 7 kilometers from Zhongnanhai, where Chinese leaders reside. Video footage shows the small plane crashing into the upper floors of the CITIC Tower, with debris scattered on the surrounding sidewalks and green spaces. A hole is still visible on the east side of the building. The incident on June 26 occurred during the evening rush hour, and approximately 12,000 office workers in the building were evacuated. Reuters reporters at the scene observed that several roads surrounding the building were blocked by police, with numerous police cars and fire trucks nearby. Police prevented some passers-by from taking photos and asked others to delete photos or videos they had already taken. Hours after the incident, the event was completely censored online in China. An online source in the know revealed that at the time of the incident, a member named Liu Junhua was conducting a simple takeoff and landing training exercise with the aircraft. It took off from Shifosi Airport at 17:30 and was scheduled to return and land at 17:40. However, when the plane joined the western route on runway 18, it did not land normally. Instead, it veered out of the airport's airspace, maintaining a 270-degree heading. The ADS-B monitoring system detected that the aircraft lost signal near the East 5th Ring Road. This post matches the flight path recorded on aircraft tracking websites. The aircraft initially circled briefly over Shifosi Airport, but instead of landing upon returning, it suddenly flew westward, making a long journey towards downtown Beijing. Hong Kong's Ming Pao reported that sources familiar with the aviation industry said that prior to the incident, Beijing aircraft control towers, the departure, approach, and area control were calling the aircraft but received no response. They called a military helicopter to check, but by the time the military helicopters arrived, the plane had already crashed. In other words, it wasn't that no one noticed the small plane, rather they did notice, called it, but failed to stop it. Ming Pao quoted aviation enthusiasts who speculated that the pilot may have turned off the aircraft's radio without authorization. Furthermore, there was no visual navigation chart in the area, so the pilot may have used the Beijing-Qinhuangdao Expressway as a visual reference point, flying from Tongzhou all the way to China's Zun. Some Chinese netizens overseas posted that Miss Liu mismanaged her futures trading, suffered a margin call, and lost hundreds of millions of RMB. Desperate, she did this. We speculate that there was another possibility. On June 7th of this year, Sina Finance reported that in order to implement the relevant requirements of the China Securities Regulatory Commission (CSRC), leading Chinese securities firms, including CITIC Securities, have introduced new compensation systems. CITIC Securities' compensation management system clearly states that if relevant personnel fail to perform their duties diligently, the company can reduce or stop paying the unpaid portion of the personnel's compensation, require them to return all or a certain percentage of their performance-based compensation for the year in which the relevant behavior occurred, and reduce or stop implementing medium and long-term incentives for them. Simply put, in the context of a declining economy and tight cash flow for these companies, CITIC is requiring employees at all levels to return all so-called overpaid performance bonuses from the past decade or so. It's important to understand that for financial professionals, basic salary is only a small part of their income, while bonuses are often the main source. Moreover, the higher the level, the more bonuses they receive. In recent years, amid China's continued economic downturn, many companies have seen performance bonuses decline or even cease altogether. Those performance bonuses had already been used by employees to buy houses and pay for various expenses. Where would they get the money to fill the company's hole? How much needs to be returned? The specific amount depends on how much they received in previous years. For lower-level employees, it might be hundreds of thousands of yuan, while for higher employees, it could be millions or even tens of millions of yuan. Who can get someone to come up with tens of millions all at once? However, the consequences of not returning the money are severe. Failure to return it will result in frozen bank accounts, being reported to the credit bureau, and being fired. Imagine a middle-aged woman with elderly parents and young children, blacklisted by the credit report. How will she survive in the future? CITIC quickly issued a denial. CITIC published an article signed Liu Junhua to clarify the rumors and featured a young Liu Junhua in its official WeChat account. It's estimated that few people believe CITIC's official statement. Furthermore, Beijing officials have not released any public information regarding the plane crashing into the building. Some believe that the middle-aged woman may not have intended to crash into her own company, but rather into Zhongnanhai. This is because the China Zun is approximately 7 kilometers from the headquarters of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China. Around 2018, multiple media reports reported that during the acceptance process, official inspectors discovered that from the 3rd floor of the China Zun, under good visibility, one could see Zhongnanhai to the west with the naked eye. Using military-grade high-powered binoculars, one could even see people and activities within Zhongnanhai clearly. Reports stated that due to this fatal flaw, the China Zun was ordered to rectify the situation. Chinese media previously reported that the top 3 floors of the building may be placed under the management of national security agencies, and that the observation deck is prohibited from looking towards Zhongnanhai. Visitors are required to undergo security checks and are prohibited from bringing professional-grade high-powered binoculars or similar equipment. This demonstrates the building's extreme proximity to China's political center. Strangely, just the afternoon after the small plane crash at the CITIC Tower on June 26, a fire broke out near the Huamao Bridge on the East 4th Ring Road in Beijing's Chaoyang district. The fire occurred extremely close to the CITIC Tower, and both locations are situated in the heart of Beijing's Chaoyang District Central Business District (CBD). A small plane crashed into a building in one of China's strictest airspace control cities, extremely close to the political center. Yet the entire chain of systems and technology failed to prevent the crash. This raises the question, is China's airspace control system effective? The aircraft's registration number was B-12PP. According to Flight Radar 24 records, the aircraft was a Sunward SA-60L Aurora, a two-seat single-engine light sport aircraft manufactured by a Chinese company. Chinese media have touted it as having a Chinese heart and a Chinese brain, achieving domestic substitution. The term low-altitude economy was coined by Chinese officials. It refers to a comprehensive economic model based on low-altitude airspace, typically below 1,000 meters, using manned or unmanned civilian aircraft as carriers, and encompassing passenger and cargo transport as well as various operations. The term low-altitude economy was included in China's National Comprehensive Three-Dimensional Transportation Network Planning Outline in early 2021. And was emphasized at the Central Economic Work Conference in 2023, where China proposed to develop several strategic emerging industries such as biomanufacturing, commercial aerospace, and the low-altitude economy. According to the 2025 Statistical Bulletin on the Development of the Civil Aviation Industry, released by the Civil Aviation Administration of China, as of the end of 2025, there were 3,140 registered general aviation aircraft and 513 registered general aviation airports nationwide, with around 3.3 million registered drones. Chinese media claim that China's low-altitude economy is poised to become the next $1.5 trillion level economic growth engine. On the official website of the Central People's Government of China, there are numerous local government reports and proposals related to the low-altitude economy. Most of them ambitious. One county government in Shandong province even sold the county skies in November 2024. The price, 940 million yuan, approximately 140 million US dollars. The county government granted Pinyin County a 30-year concession for the low-altitude economy, with a concessionaire responsible for operating and maintaining the facility and providing services such as flight license training during the concession period. Later, due to significant controversy, the project was halted by higher authorities. The CCP elites each have their own territories in the economic field, so who has inherited the enormous prize of the trillion-dollar low-altitude economy? At the top of the CCP today, the number one figure is party leader Xi Jinping. The number two is Cai Shi, a member of the Politburo Standing Committee. Cai Chi's son Cai Er-jin was appointed deputy director of the newly established Low-Altitude Economic Development Department of the National Development and Reform Commission in 2025. However, in late April of this year, a major earthquake shook Beijing's scientific research circles. Several gloomy-looking discipline inspection personnel from Chengzhou City, Hunan Province, quietly infiltrated the office building of the Institute of Geography, Chinese Academy of Sciences in Beijing. They took away Zhou Chenghu, an academic of the Chinese Academy of Sciences and a leading authority in China's geographic remote sensing field. This news was not officially announced until June 1st of this year by the website of the Central Commission for Discipline and Inspection and the National Supervisory Commission. Zhou is a leading figure in China's low-altitude economy. In recent years, Zhou Chenghu has repeatedly predicted publicly that China's low-altitude economy has the potential to become the next trillion-dollar economic growth sector, with a vast commercial network behind it. Chinese business registration records show that Zhou Chenghu has clear connections to more than 20 companies. He has served as a shareholder in at least 17 and as a senior executive in 19. These companies are primarily involved in satellite remote sensing and geographic information systems. Zhou's Zhangke Yuntu ostensibly deals in drones, but in reality it represents the CCP's largest commercial empire in the low-altitude economy. They have deployed thousands of automated drone stations nationwide, forming a 24/7 low-altitude remote sensing network called Zhangke Skynet. Consider this, in a highly controlled authoritarian society like China, low-altitude airspace is the exclusive domain of the military. How could Zhou Chenghu, an academic, possibly monopolize the development of China's low-altitude economy? It's impossible without a powerful backer. This powerful backer of Zhou is none other than Cai Shi, the second highest ranking figure in the CCP. More precisely, it's Cai Shi's son, Cai Er-jin, who currently works at the National Development and Reform Commission. It's fair to say that the second highest ranking figure has had very bad luck. The CITIC Tower being hit by a small plane is expected to significantly hinder China's low-altitude airspace opening process, and Beijing will issue the strictest low-altitude airspace ban in history. Because Beijing acts as a policy bellwether for the entire country, previous low-altitude airspace opening policies and test flight zone plans implemented by other provinces and cities are expected to be indefinitely shelved or significantly scaled back due to the nature of the incident. If this incident continues to escalate, it could also cause a shakeup within the CCP's top leadership. This is because the so-called trillion-dollar national strategy is, in the eyes of the CCP's red elite, nothing more than a family ATM masquerading as high technology. The secret arrest of Zhou Chenghu by the local discipline inspection commission across provinces is far from ordinary anti-corruption. Now, the incident of a small plane crashing near Zhongnanhai will be interpreted differently by various factions within the CCP's top leadership, regardless of who the pilot is. So, who wants to arrest the academic? Why aren't they afraid of the CCP's second-in-command? They are the anti-Xi faction within the current CCP leadership. This force within the party has already begun a targeted purge of Cai Shi's family, directly destroying their trillion-dollar ATM. If the light plane incident wasn't orchestrated by the anti-Xi faction, then it's a gift to them. So, who are they? We'll reveal the answer in a future video. Our channel will be adding analysis of the CCP's political situation in the future, because in Red China, major social and economic issues are never simple. They are deeply intertwined with the political landscape. Please follow our video to decode contemporary China. Thank you for watching.